Is it a crisis?
Well, as I said, the NHS is under pressure, but that's why, you just think, a few weeks after I became Prime Minister, we had the autumn statement. And in spite of the difficult decisions that we had to make in order to stabilise the economy, make sure that we get to grips with inflation and reduce debt, we managed to find more money for the NHS and social care, because I wanted to make sure everyone, including all the people that you talked about, knew that this was a priority, and that money is going into the system, and what we need to make sure is that money makes a difference.
But the level of service that many people have experienced in the last few weeks has been terrible. Doctors at their wits' end, nurses are at their wits' end. Some patients have been absolutely appalled by what's happened and have had terrible experiences. And I'm asking you about the word crisis, because sometimes I think people will only believe that you can get to grips with this if you acknowledge how bad it is. And the Royal College of Emergency Medicine has said that at least 300 people a week have died because of problems in overcrowding and emergency care. Now, if that's not a crisis, I ask you, what is?
Well, I think first thing to say is when it comes to numbers like that, the NHS themselves have said that they don't recognise those numbers and will be careful about bandying them around. But look, I think what matters more than words...
Them around.
Well,
that's
no,
the Royal
I think
College of Emergency Medicine. That's hardly some random group.
The NHS themselves have said that they don't recognise those numbers and will be careful about using them. So I'll just leave it at that. But I think what matters more than words is action. And here are the actions. 3 weeks after I became Prime Minister, in the autumn statement, at a time of difficulty elsewhere, billions of extra pounds for the NHS and social care. And then the next thing is, what difference is that going to make? And that's the question people should be asking. That's what I want to be held account for. So yes, there are unacceptable delays right now happening in ambulances and A&Es. But if you look at it, we've got actually a relatively small number of trusts, around 10% of trusts that account for over half of all the ambulance handover delays. And actually part of the discussions we were having today is figuring out, well, in the areas where we have managed to find ways to reduce some of the waiting pressures, what is it that's working that we can spread around the country?